Hello, folks. This story was sent to me by a subscriber and is intended for educational purposes only. Thank you for watching. 6 Gramm magic mushrooms. The refrigerator tried to recruit me. It started innocently enough. A quiet Sunday, a friend's cabin in the woods, and a suspiciously large Ziploc bag full of dried mushrooms labeled Pan-Galactic Insight Units. I had taken 3 grams the week before and thought, 6 can't be that different. This is the kind of logic only mushrooms and raccoons understand. I blended the dose into a smoothie with banana and almond butter and drank it while watching a squirrel eat a Dorito outside the kitchen window. That squirrel made eye contact with me like it knew something. I should have taken the hint. Exactly 47 minutes later, the linoleum floor began to emit a faint hum, and my hands turned into spaghetti. I wasn't alarmed. In fact, I remember thinking, this is fine. I'm just a pasta-based life form now. Then the refrigerator opened itself. I swear on my weird Uncle Gary's taxidermied ferret. The refrigerator opened of its own accord, revealing a glowing blue vortex where the crisper drawer used to be. A voice, deep and mechanical, yet vaguely flirtatious, called to me. Join the cool. I walked over cautiously. I asked, are you recruiting? The fridge sighed. We've been watching you, Daniel. You have potential. You are mold resistant. You can handle the cold. We need you. Before I could respond, the fridge's contents reorganized themselves into a vase made of ketchup bottles, eggs, and a container of leftover lo mein. It blinked. I blinked back. Then I suddenly remembered I was at a cabin in the woods, completely alone, except for my friend Tim, who was somewhere outside trying to build a Zen bird throne. I left the house to find him, feeling like my kneecaps were on backward. The trees whispered things like, you forgot the mayonnaise, and ask about the ceiling. I tried not to engage. Tim was wearing a bathrobe and holding a rake like a weapon. He shouted, the birds know! And then threw a peanut butter sandwich at a pine tree. It stuck. He was clearly deep in his own journey. I tried to explain about the fridge, but all that came out was, the icebox is conscious and I think it wants me to join its army. Tim nodded solemnly and said, don't trust the freezers. They're the real war criminals. I trusted him. Back inside, I attempted to write down what was happening. But every time I looked at my notebook, letters rearranged into sentences like potatoes can't be trusted with state secrets, and your aunt was a lizard all along. I gave up and decided to communicate through interpretive dance, which lasted roughly 40 seconds before I tripped over an ottoman that had somehow changed its color to angry red. It was offended. I apologized to the ottoman and gave it a cookie as a peace offering. The sun set at some point. Or maybe it just gave up. The walls of the cabin became see-through, and I could see alternate versions of myself outside, doing strange things. One of me was wearing scuba gear and arguing with a badger. Another was painting the sky with barbecue sauce, and one was just quietly sobbing into a hat. I saluted them all. We were clearly in this together. Around midnight, I started to feel like I was being watched. Not in a creepy way, More like the universe had paused its Netflix show to watch me. The stars outside looked judgmental. I went back to the kitchen to confront the fridge. "I'm not ready," I told it. "I don't even like cold pizza." The fridge didn't respond, but a single ice cube slid out of the dispenser and landed on the floor, spinning slowly. It came to a stop, pointing toward the hallway. I took that as a sign. I followed the hallway, which had turned into a jungle of hanging coats and forgotten umbrellas, all whispering memories I had no business remembering. "Remember that time you peed your pants in 3rd grade?" One raincoat hissed. "Your browser history knows who you really are." A broken umbrella snickered. I made it to the end of the hallway and found a door that hadn't been there before. It was labeled Department of Interdimensional Bureaucracy. Inside was a tiny office, lit by a single lava lamp. A sloth in a business suit looked up from a mountain of paperwork. "Dad, you're late," it said. The existential audit was due 3 lifetimes ago. I tried to explain that I had eaten mushrooms, not metaphysics. But the sloth just handed me a clipboard with a checklist titled "Things That Are and Are Not Soup." I checked off clouds, knees, and Thursday. The sloth nodded approvingly. "You may proceed." I left the office and found myself in the backyard. Only it wasn't a backyard anymore. It was a massive desert full of inflatable flamingos and forks stuck in the sand. A marching band made entirely of goats passed by playing techno polka. I felt overwhelmed but oddly accepted. Like this was chaos, yes, but it was my chaos. I sat down on a cactus that turned out to be quite polite about the whole thing and told me, "You were a sandwich in the lunchbox of time." Eventually, Tim found me. He was holding a squirrel and crying. "He forgot me," he said, before releasing the squirrel and doing a cartwheel. I knew then it was time to come down. We went back inside. The fridge was quiet. The vortex was gone. A note on the freezer said, "Offer still stands. Stay cool. M. Me." I fell asleep, curled up next to a pile of towels that told me bedtime stories in Morse code. I woke up 16 hours later with my shoelaces tied to a frying pan and a new appreciation for room temperature. I never joined the fridge army, but I do keep a little container of baking soda in there now, just in case it calls again.